Hey, what's up, everyone? Charles here, and I am with Magi, ApologyMan, and Lord Knight, and we're going to bring you guys a tier list for 2v2s in MultiVersus. We are obviously in the closed alpha. The game's been really fun. We've all been playing it quite a bit, so we just want to bring you guys this tier list, just our opinions of the game and the current meta in the closed alpha. So let's get into it. We're going to start with, obviously, well, this guy's not out.
Yeah.
I actually don't think anyone's in C tier. I think it's pretty balanced. There's like, the characters feel balanced. I feel like right now what the meta is more so because of the perks. So before I even get into the tier list, the projectile perks I would say are kind of controlling the meta right now for closed alpha specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then there's a glitch in the game that essentially makes it so you can spam the same aerials because dodge cancels the same aerial lockout or the same move lockout. So that also, like, characters with slower dares are not as good because they can't dare loop or do other loops, right? And then, of course, the Ignite perk and the Gray Health perk, especially in doubles, is very, very strong. So projectile characters or characters with really good projectile on, like, for move properties are just generally really strong in this current meta. So we're going to start off. I don't think there's any characters in C tier, in my opinion, but we'll start with B tier. And the first character I'm going to put here is Superman. So Superman, really slow. I feel like Superman's one of those characters where if you lose to Superman, it's kind of on you.
That makes sense.
The moves are so slow, right? Like, and the main gimmick is the armor, and I just feel like that doesn't in a meta where I feel like the main factors are large hitboxes and projectiles, because team attack is off, right? So projectile and large hitboxes in other platform fighters and teams, like, there's a risk when you do them, right? But in this game, it's more so like covering fire because you just can't hit your teammates. So I feel like if your character doesn't have that, and alongside with the projectile perks being so overtuned, in my opinion, characters that their main niche is, oh, I'm tanky and I have a lot of armored moves. Well, armored moves doesn't matter if you're getting like dynamited from across the stage or whatever, right? Just getting pelted by projectiles. So that's like my general mentality when I put Superman here.
I basically agree with that for the most part. Like, all the times I saw Superman do really well in teams is always with projectile support. And that's basically the main time where he gets to do the thing he's best at, which is spam armor, is he needs support. So it's not the opposite of like he is having a lot of armor, so his teammate gets to do stuff. It's usually his teammate is doing whatever projectiles in the back, and then he does armor. And if he catches you, he can dish out some damage if he catches you doing that. But like, it's never because of him, basically. I feel that,
I was thinking, like, going into this thing, like, I was basically 100% agreeing with Charles, where like it feels really awkward in this game to, like, when you get like openings with like grounded moves, like, it's really easy to get reversaled, and it's also really hard when you have like a very little amount of time to punish someone to do something that's really, really relevant outside of just like whacking them away. So I think projectiles especially feel like so important, or range in general, but mostly projectiles in this game it's so important, because like just having a get off me tool for your teammate where you don't have to put yourself at risk when everybody just like hard dodges really quickly, everyone has really big hitboxes, and like it's just really weird because like you don't like kill off a punish a lot of the time. It feels like you like usually just like hit them away. So I definitely 100% agree where like you just literally need a projectile like character on the screen, it feels like, because if you're just like tanking and doing a lot of like close range stuff, it just like it feels so not impactful, especially when Superman, like, just to use him as a specific example, doesn't really do that much. I guess he's strong. Does he actually have kill options like at high percents? Because I feel like that's the only other thing that you can have.
Yeah, for sure. His knockback is pretty high. Yeah, but I think overall, like, he's definitely on like the weaker end because of the stuff about the projectiles. LK and I, we played a pretty projectile heavy team. And like whenever we fought Superman, it wasn't like that scary. The only time he felt scary actually was when we fought a Superman that was paired with Rain Dog, and you know, he had a lot of projectile support so that he could do like his big punches, and because he does have a lot of knockback, to be fair. But I think like outside of that, I don't know. I feel like you need to build a team around him, and he's not like very flexible to like play with like a lot of different teams, in my opinion. So yeah, I think he's like kind of down there, but he's annoying as hell. This character is he's just like punch dodge, and his dodge goes so far.
He has, I believe, the fastest dodge, maybe even longest dodge in the game. I think Superman and Batman have, in terms of sheer mobility, their mobility is insane. Like Superman practically teleports. This character does have some strengths going for it, but I think the main point to drive home is there has to be some kind of support for this character, and you almost have to kind of build around it. And Superman's not a kind of character where it's like, just throw Superman in there and you're good to go, right? And which brings me into the next character is going to be Garnet. Garnet, very similar to Superman, but I think she has a little bit more going for her. She has the rocket gloves that can edge guard. Like, she has some projectile-esque tools, right? Some of the electric moves are a little farther range. I know and this is a 2's tier list, but I know there was a singles tournament that someone won with Garnet. So maybe in a singles environment, like, a lot of these characters probably get a little bit better. Like, I mean, when you look at a character like Superman, maybe in singles he's a little bit better because you can abuse that mobility a lot more, right? But yeah, when your main, I feel like if your main gimmick or your main like strengths in this build specifically, because of what we explained earlier, if it's like tankiness and armored moves, then that's just not too much of a good look for you.
Right. Yeah, you need to definitely have like you need to like create like a timer for your opponent. And I feel like a lot of the tankier characters don't really, like, they can, like, you can get camped out like a lot easier than like you can like force them to like feel pressure. Like, they need to already be in a disadvantaged spot for the tanky characters to like feel like they're making an impact, I guess. So like, I think all the projectile characters basically are like, fuck you, you better fucking do something because I'm about to fuck you up if you don't.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah. Garnet was definitely the least picked character I feel like I fought against, honestly, overall. She has like some pretty decent support. I still don't fully understand her. She's, oh man, anytime I fight her, I'm just like, what is happening? I'm really confused, but she does have like some good projectiles and support, and she has the armor, but like, I don't know. I think there's much better characters above her.
Yeah, you can still make these characters work, right? Like, I started in B tier for a reason. I really want to point that out. Like, you can pair one of these characters with an S character or even just an A character, right? And you'll probably be fine, right? You can probably win. So by no means are you at a massive disadvantage if you pick anyone in B tier. Like, that's still really good. All right, so next up I have Batman. I think this is I don't know if this is kind of just like me like coping with it, but I wanted the main Batman off the rip, and I was getting bodied. It was like hard, and I tried to lab out some more stuff, and I'd be like labbing out stuff. I'm like, dang, I'm trying so hard to get like 30 damage, you know. I think there is more stuff with him, but my big thing with Batman is he has all of his eggs in one basket, where it's like his vertical threat is insane. Like, his aerial up B, one of the best aerial up Bs in the game. One of the craziest like upward threats. It's humongous, right? It kills really early off the top. Having like 2 shots at it essentially when you go up. He has one of the best dodges in the game in the air, right? Like Superman, like, it just goes really far. So you can chase people down really hard vertically, and then you also have a very nice down air and down B, which is really good for offstage edge guards. But I just feel like without battering, his horizontal threat is very meh. And in teams, I feel like if you can't, because neutral, when it starts, neutral is very horizontal at first, right? And then usually advantage state is vertical for most platform fighters. So if you don't have that horizontal threat, and you will have it off the rip with the battering, but if you don't have battering or it's on cooldown, that's when Batman feels way more situational to me.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think like his up B is definitely quite strong, but I feel like overall his hitboxes, like his screen threat is super weak. Like in general, I actually don't feel very threatened by him. I feel like I'm always like, he's always just getting hit by projectiles like when I'm fighting against him. So I think he has like a lot of flaws, and it kind of reminds me of like some Superman issues too in some ways.
Yeah, Batman is actually a character I think is way better in 1v1 than 2v2 because like there's just no things in the way, so he can really play his game. And like, it's not just mobility too, like just using the batarang, spacing, playing at his own pace is all easier in 1v1, where in 2v2 like some team builds are going to be like, all right, these two are just throwing hitboxes at him, or like, oh well, this character has armor and there's projectiles behind it, or it's like double projectile, and you just never get the chance to like get started. essentially. So really all he has is like just waiting for the teammate to get. The best Batman I played against in 2v2 was a Batman that literally waited for his teammate to get hit and then punished that.
Yeah, like
and started from that. Yeah, which is pain. That is pain. That has to be painful.
Yeah, I think that's what's interesting about like platform fighters and like specifically the doubles format is like a lot of characters do work in singles because they have like the infinite time to like pick their spots and choose things, but in doubles, because there's constantly a timer of like saving your teammate or their opponent is off stage, so you have time to do a 2v1, or your teammate's off stage, so you're like really pressured to like deal with that stuff. It's like a lot harder for characters to like play to their strengths, which is why I think doubles becomes a lot more of like role playing, which I think was kind of what they wanted to do with like, I think Batman and Superman are both brawlers, I think is their class or whatever. Like you're supposed to be really tanky and kind of not like a full tank, but just like enough to like, if you have a close quarter situations, you will kind of thrive, but it's like a lot harder again because like, the game just feels so scrappy. Like it's really hard to have like a solid opening where you get like a lot of like your big moves, like your slower kill moves or whatever. Like it just feels a lot more difficult to do that. So I think despite their mobility, they still have like too slow of like actual moves and like actual like the things they're good at take a while. Like it takes a decent amount of time for I think them to get set up and everything. So I think it makes sense that like that class of characters like Garnet, Superman, Batman, they're all kind of just like slow brawler. Like Garnet has range, but like a lot of them like don't have like super big range. So I think it makes a lot of sense. You need way more versatility in doubles than you do in singles.
Yeah. And I've actually played singles with Batman, and like whiff punishing with battering is OD, like it's crazy. I think the only other character that can really whiff punish with projectiles like that is probably like the Jerry shot from Tom. So like in my opinion, those two projectiles are like some of the best in the game because, well, one, just whiff punishing with a projectile is crazy. It's really hard to whiff punish in this game because a lot of things don't have lag. And being able to whiff punish and interrupt when like your teammate's getting juggled or like comboed, and like sometimes you'll go in and try to save them, but like you'll just end up getting hit by the hitboxes too. But when you do that with a projectile, there's no way you get hit, right? It's like a very safe disruption where it's like, okay, shoot Jerry, shoot battering, interrupt that. And I think for Batman specifically, it's like way better in a 1v1.
Yeah. I think also like battering, it's like it takes a long time for it to cool down, right? And it also takes a while for it to
if you don't
activate.
pick it up.
Yeah, okay, I see.
Yeah, sometimes I'd be picking it up, be like, yoink.
Yeah. It definitely just feels awkward. Like I think it makes sense that despite him having a good whiff punish projectile, it's not like fast enough and like constantly like enough of a threat compared to like a character like Tom and Jerry with like a lot of projectiles that constantly come out. His is like on a cooldown and he has to grab it at least, and it's just like it's a lot harder.
Your teammate can grab it and throw it back to you, and it is powerful like that. So I think there might be builds where maybe you have like another quick mobile character that can pick up your battering and throw it back at you, and then but see, now we're getting into like super specifics, and when you get into specifics in a team game, it's like, okay, well, usually the S tiers are like, oh yeah, just throw them in, and you'll probably be fine, right?
Makes sense.
So next up will be an A tier. So a lot of people would I know the Buzz actually put Jake as like the best character in the game. I think Jake is very annoying.
Hate this character.
But like this is my most hated character. But I also know when I see something, I know it's like, okay, I'm getting frustrated because I suck at dealing with X, Y, and Z. And then I also know when to separate that feeling and be like, well, that's not good. That's just me being bad against it. Yeah. But like, what makes a character good in this environment, right? And I don't think Jake really brings too much to the table. Jake to me feels like a knowledge check character. Like, do you know how to beat side B? Do you know how to deal with the forward air? And like, because the forward air is probably one of the better moves in the game. But outside of that, I feel like Jake doesn't really bring much to the team. He doesn't really work well with projectile perks. And the attack decay in this game is brutal. So if you just spam fair, your fair is just doing nothing, right? So now you're forced as Jake to use different moves, and all of a sudden like he becomes a little bit more lackluster because if you take out fair, and you really just don't have that much range, right? So
it's a good point. Move versatility is actually a pretty important thing because
correct,
you can be like, damn, this one move is super good, but if you only use it, like you're not gonna do any. Yeah, the decay is insane.
Yeah. So after talking to Charles, actually, he like, we didn't talk about Jake specifically, but he low-key convinced me that Jake probably is A tier, not S tier. So like I think Jake's really strong points, even in 2v2, is that he's really good at jacking up damage really fast in a pretty lazy way with skateboard and stuff. But all the other stuff, and it's really nice that because I also agree with you on this, that if you have like either big hitboxes or very active hitboxes, it's easier to play teams. And he has a bunch, like the horse, all his normals, his up air, mashing on skateboard, like all that stuff, right? And like the main thing about him is outside of these things, he basically is always pulling up. Like he doesn't like have to approach depending on the team build, but like he has to kind of come in on you, and most of the things he does are pretty committal, and you just get out of the way. Like it's all knowledge checks, essentially, and you don't have to take 4 stocks off each character to win. You just need to get 4 kills. So like in the case where you just don't want to deal with that, you can really just not deal with it. It's fine. Just stay avoiding him and tech on your damage as you can. So while it's really annoying and incredibly scrubby, I also hate this character. I never want to watch Adventure Time because of him and Quinn, honestly. But I could admit that he is not S tier. And because the last point of like he doesn't take advantage of some of the perks that seem like really strong is really major. Very, very important for a 2v2 format.
I was thinking about it too, like, because that's like my frustrations with the game whenever it specifically doubles, is that that's kind of why I started playing singles. It's because I was getting so annoyed by so many like character interactions. I was like, I just want to see what you do against this specific move, and it's so annoying in doubles, especially when it's like an orange bar connection and hitboxes do not match with their animations, or maybe they are just like that and it's hard to tell because it's doubles and it's like a lot of different things happening. But yeah, Jake, I 100% agree. Whenever I play against him, I'm like, this doesn't feel real. Like this all feels like bullshit.
No, he's degenerate. He's degenerate for sure. The horsey, oh my god, the horsey gets me tight. His edge guarding gets me tight. He just does the skateboard, just and he does the punch. But I can admit that he's like not good. He's if there's a scrubbiness tier list we make some other time, he's triple S tier scrubby character.
I could see also, like, I wouldn't be entirely surprised if DeBuzz like does see something, or like has like maybe there are more legit things. Like it feels kind of gimmicky, but maybe it actually is. Like it's just hard to tell right now. It's like 1 week into like the second or third close. I can't tell what closed test this is, but
close alpha.
But yeah, I would be not entirely surprised if some of it's real, but it definitely doesn't feel super real. And I think a lot of the stuff would be solved. And I 100% agree. Like not taking advantage of the perks, and also just being able to run away from him. Like that's what annoys me, is when I like try to just dodge and then I like get caught in like the lag of my air dodge and like rolls back, and then I get hit by the stupid fair, and it's like really annoying. But yeah, I definitely 100% agree. It feels like you're just delaying the inevitable whenever he's playing, or he's delaying the inevitable that you can just run away the entire time. So.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the Adventure Time characters, I actually think this was really smart from them, like game design wise, but they feel very easy to play, really mashy. Your strategy is very straightforward. And I main Finn, right? Like I'm not bashing on people that play it. I do find it really, really annoying. And I'm kind of like with Lorna, I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever watch another episode of Adventure Time, but I think it's good though, because a lot of the younger generation will pick up these characters when they look at the roster, right? They'll be, oh my goodness, Jake and Finn, like from I love, what I mean? Like a lot of the younger people will pick up those characters rather than like Superman or Batman, right?
That makes a lot of sense.
And making them very simple, easy to pick up, and it's like, okay, here's really large hitboxes, like go to town, just start mashing. Like I think actually, like in a developer perspective, is really smart.
I did not think about that point, but that is definitely I agree.
Yeah, that's just my way of being toxic and not. Anyway, so next up, Taz.
Yep.
I think this character is extremely overrated. I don't think this character is S tier. Just because you can KO at like 20 or 30%, like obviously that's really, really strong, but like double Taz is trash. That's a trash team, right? And it's again where you have this overwhelming strength of having KO power. And don't get me wrong, NATO is extremely powerful. You can jump cancel, you can dodge cancel, you can fast fall it. Like this move is crazy, but you don't like have neutral. You don't have range in neutral. His best like neutral move is probably neutral B, where you like drinks from the pot or whatever and spits out whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's your best move in terms of neutral. You don't have a lot of horizontal range, and to me, Taz is like an advantage state monster. Where like if you have someone else that can win neutral for you or like support you, to like set you up in advantage state, then you bank really hard off of your hard reads in advantage state. Like, oh, I read someone's jump and I killed him at 30 with Taz. You know what I mean? Like now I don't have to deal damage, but whatever, right? And I will say, as a side note, Taz can run Ignite pretty well because neutral B counts as a project. He has a bunch of moves that count as a projectile. Okay. So he actually does work well with the stuff. But I think for me, my biggest thing with him is like he doesn't have like super solid confirms that KO early. There are more situations where you get reads with Tornado off stage, and it's a character that you cash out on advantage state. That's like how I feel about him. And other than that, he just doesn't have the craziest neutral.
Okay, counterpoint.
Okay.
I'll give you the A tier. He's double S on if you play on PS4 because he's invisible.
He's invisible.
No, he's not.
Yeah. He's actually legitimately invisible. Like you can't see him, or you'll kill him and then he will disappear for the rest of the game. So,
John Cena?
Oh, I did not know that.
It is really cursed.
Yeah, that's I do agree that is double S tier.
It's so funny when LK and I queue up and we're playing against Taz, he's like, I can't see him, and I'm just like, wait, what? Oh no!
Oh no! He's spinning at you. LK, jump!
LK, get out of the way!
Yeah, that's very funny.
Man.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so one thing I think it really keeps Taz's Tornado in check is also attack decay. One thing I was realizing when playing him, I was like, okay, I need to really, really keep track of what moves he's using to like get to undecay basically his Tornado. And like when it's fresh again, I'm like, okay, now we need to be afraid of Tornado. It can kill you super early. Keeping track of that, I think, was super important when playing against him, because otherwise that move is really strong. And with how strong dodge is, having something as active as Tornado and killing like that, I think is good. Like that's definitely his best advantage. But once again, I think projectiles run this game. So I think
he does have a perk that makes his Tornado slower, but it reflects projectile, but it doesn't reflect every projectile. Like Taz's neutral B counts as a projectile for Ignite, but you can't reflect it, right? So it's like,
okay.
Me and LK were talking about this earlier, how it's like annoying that we don't. The hub doesn't tell us what this is a projectile but can't be reflected, right? Like, some things are projectiles but can't be reflected.
I'd love to reflect Taz Tornado. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
But another thing too is Tornado just gets beaten out by big hitboxes. I think that's the biggest weakness.
Yeah,
it's definitely not a brawl Meta Knight Tornado. Like I can Harley nair it. Any Finn hitbox beats it. Like there's a lot of just like moves you can throw out that'll beat Tornado, right?
So it's just cheap with the rollback, I think.
I was about to say, like, that's the thing that's annoying with it is like when I first played against Taz, like I tried fairing it and I tried nairing it, but I would just like barely lose in orange bar connections, or like you do need to like space it enough, and like it's like frustrating when you barely misspace it, but like I also lab that you can just do the slide down smash or whatever if he's on the ground. It just completely beats it every single time. But yeah, it does feel mostly like 100%. You kind of need to run into him, or he needs to like really, really, really read you for that to be relevant. So he doesn't really do anything by himself, but like I do think he's one of the best role players in killing. I think that's like a pretty like that is like if you're not doing projectiles and you are going to be like a close quarters character, like Superman and Batman, I think have like those, or the B tier characters, they have a hard time like feeling threatened even when they're in like their like super sick situation. But Taz is like, okay, if he does get this off, you do die, which I think is at least like that definitely separates him from like the B tier. So 100% agree with his placement, but I also agree that like he doesn't really do that. He has the exact same weaknesses. It feels like he doesn't really do that much. And like, yeah, so that's awesome.
Yeah, and we're in A tier. These characters are really strong.
Yeah, they're still really
good. Really good.
Like yeah.
All right, so next up, I've got Shaggy. You know, the game's all-around character. He provides a lot of utility. I think any mechanic where if you're not interacting with me, I can power up myself and my teammate. I think that's just always strong, where you kind of have to keep tabs on him. And the powered up stuff, I think, is a pretty big threat. A lot of his powered up moves like gain extra properties. They're stronger. He has like armor on some of his moves when he's powered up. When he powers up his teammate. So things like that. are, I think just this character feels like a gatekeepy character in terms of just like really good character to pick up the game with, really solid combo game, and you kind of just have all the tools to, even like the sandwich is like not the best projectile, but it's a projectile, and if it passes your teammates, it heals them. Like he provides a lot of utility, surprisingly, for like the damage output he has and stuff like that.
Yeah, this character does everything basically, right?
Yes.
To a decent level. I think it's really easy to pick up, pretty good combo game, really good all-rounder, and having a character that forces you to approach them that is a physical character also I think is a pretty good merit. And the change of properties of all the stuff when he's in rage is pretty serious. It could be like game deciding.
Yes.
That and you have to constantly like you can't give them any time like ever, but then he's like a point blank fighter, so I think he's really good all around, like solid strong character. He's like my line of what is good, what is all around good in the game, where like Taz is like, oh, he's super good at this and Jake's super good at this, but like not other stuff. He's just like not really any clear weaknesses really, and then like just all around, like not like super duper strong, but like all around good type of thing, right? Yeah.
Like the opposite of the Taz problem, where he has like very good all around. He just doesn't have like a specific like super duper thing that like he like has to like that makes him like an incredibly strong threat. Like he's just like pretty good at everything. And I think it's interesting because I think specifically like the charge up move, it's like obviously like Cloud's like limit break I think is like the closest like Smash comparison. And it's funny because in Smash, because of friendly fire, you can't really just like force your enemies to approach you because of projectiles being all over the screen. So like limit break was kind of like the, oh shit, like we really do have to like constantly be keeping track of them. So it's funny that in this game, although that it's still just as strong as it would be, I guess, in the games with Cloud, where like he has like the limit break charge up or whatever. It's funny because like projectiles are still a stronger like means of like forcing your opponent to approach you or whatever, but this is still pretty good in this environment as well. Like definitely enough to like force the game to continue, and like force the game to like definitely have to keep constantly keeping Shaggy in check or whatever. So I think his placement's like perfect as A tier, just like has a lot going for him and just not like a particular strength, but like honestly it's pretty okay, like especially if you pair him with an S tier character. Like you're definitely very comfortable, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think Shaggy, like one thing I'm always happy when I fight Shaggy players is once they get the power up, they just use it immediately. I'm like, all right, thank God.
Bad Shaggy players will do that.
Those are bad Shaggy players. But if they actually hold on to it and use it as the threat that it is, it's quite scary. Yeah. It's quite scary because the knockback is really high on it. And I also think he has very good aerial drift. His aerials are really good. So like his fair, like his knee, like it when he does like dash, like short hop dash at you jump knee, like it comes out very quickly. So it's really good at like stopping some setup, like surprisingly, just like how fast he is. But yeah, no, I think he's like kind of in the right position.
Yeah, he also has a intangible up B, so he can be a little hard edge guard as well. So he's got the DP, man. All right, so next up, I got Arya. This character was in the last test or the last build. She was the best character in the game.
Yeah, she was so good.
She could bail. She could like smash 4 bail you off the top, like at 0. Yeah, she was really dumb. I think she's still really solid, and I think one thing that makes her really strong is you can play her really simple. You can pretty much be a jab bot and like fish for jab 1. Did I hit jab 1? No. Okay, roll cancel it into maybe another jab, or maybe just full on disengage, or maybe cross up roll in jab again, right? Or I connect with it, go into up B. You get at least 1 guaranteed follow up from that. You can go for a loop. You can up B there and try to get another aerial up B into up air. But usually you don't have too much time in doubles to like do that full combo. So usually you see Aryas go jab 1 up B into like fair bear, or just like swat them off stage, and then from there they can try to either help their teammate or go for the edge guard. So I think she also just has like a pretty simple strategy. I think Dagger, very long cooldown, but I think it's one of the best moves in the entire game. So it justifies the cooldown on it. And yeah, just like pretty much what you would expect out of an assassin / combo character. She's extremely light. So I think that's where her caveat is. Her hitboxes aren't really large. Your best hitbox is probably jab 1 in neutral, and your aerials aren't like super big, and you can get cheese pretty easily. I think is her biggest weakness.
Yeah, I agree. I played her in a pro player showcase. Basically our strategy there was I would watch MVD get hit and I'd roll over and do down tilt into up B into the basically the same thing. Since it was invincible. Dagger's ridiculous. Like Dagger's absolutely ridiculous move. There's so many things you can do with it. You can save yourself by sticking it to your teammate. You can create just new combo opportunities by sticking it to your teammate or your opponent. It's a really flexible move that I really like. Just being able to stun by stealing her face, I think, is really good. And the only thing about her is that you mentioned with her, like how easy it is to cheese her, is that it really, basically, you're almost forced to use mobility utility perks with her on the team because her up B doesn't go anywhere and her side B is like a really slow Cycle Crusher Meta Knight side B type move. So if you do put like triple jump and aerial acrobat on with her, then like you are god. Like you're just moving a lot, but you have to commit to you and your teammate having that, which means you're kind
Not
of
running Ignite.
you're forced to run really specific stuff with her, which good stuff, but like there are other things that are really strong too. And like you said, she's only doing like two things. You're either running around, do jab, or run around, wait for your teammate to get hit, and do up B or down tilt. Like, you know.
She reminds me like a lot with Falco and melee doubles, where Falco has really, really long combos that are very, very high damaging in singles, but they take so long that they're very irrelevant in doubles a lot of the time, just because usually their teammates ready to save, and like even when you have an opportunity to like their teammates off stage and you have a combo, it's usually just better for you to just sandwich between like you and your teammate anyway. So like the long combos don't really like super duper matter, and so like all of her longer setups I feel like are pretty irrelevant. And also it's like it's awkward because I was trying to pick her up too, and it's definitely very convenient whenever they're just kind of approaching you and you get to just like dash dance jab up B, but like I think it's really hard to like approach with jab a lot of the time. Like that doesn't really like, it's like really, really small like at the end of the day. Yeah, and like you have to get around projectiles, and like it's like precise enough where like even if you finally have an opportunity to whiff punish, you still have to like dash up and jab, and usually moves don't have enough lag for you to actually be able to do that. So I think in like doubles it's really, really awkward. And also with the side B, I think like the side B is what really like it makes her combos like a lot faster, and like she can do like up B nair, side B down air off stage, and it kills. But also when you tag them, like it doesn't stay on them for too long, so they kind of can just abandon for like a little bit and not feel like too pressure. Like you can eventually just cash out and like side B nair them or whatever, but like if you're not nairing them, or if you're not side Bing them close to like the off stage or like close to the top blast zone, you don't really get like a big thing. You just like win neutral once, which in this game like doesn't like super turn into like a big thing, I feel like. So I think that's what's awkward with her, is that she definitely has a lot of kill potential. She's definitely like really good at like when she does get a time to like, you know, at like 140, if she lands jab, like you do just die from center stage or whatever. But if like at the lower percents, it feels like she has a harder time like really capitalizing off of those combos, I guess. So and on top of not really having like a lot of projectile control, on top of being a little bit stubby, and also for being really, really easy to kill. Like I think that's what separates her from the S tier. If she was like how she was in the previous version, it was so much like so much scarier.
The combos are insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, now she's really light, so I think that is a big problem. She gets killed pretty easily. But I think her advantages definitely lie in like how fast she is. Her speed is good. I value disengaging like pretty highly. Like I think like being able to move and like have that good aerial speed is really useful in this game, and she definitely does have that. And like she has like pretty good like edge guarding, but yeah, I think like a lot of like her combos and stuff, like you can kind of just like interrupt them, or if your teammate's like looking for it. But yeah, I think that's like probably the right position for her.
Yeah, and again, keep in mind that these characters are so strong. The main thing, especially within a doubles tier list, when we're not like rating actual combination of characters, because that'll take forever, is flexibility, right? So the lower down the tier list, like, yeah, you're kind of weaker in terms of like the meta, but the S tiers, essentially, you can generally throw them on any team and they're probably going to work. Like, they're very, very flexible characters, where A tier, they're still really strong characters, but they might work better with like very specific teammates kind of thing. Like Arya, EE ran a tournament a doubles tournament, and a Arya Steven team actually got third place because Steven was able to compensate for Arya's weakness of dying early. And there was even a game where Arya lived up to like 200% because Steven kept shielding Arya. And when Arya is tanking points like that, like, well, now it's way different, right? So, again, these characters are very strong, but it's like this tier list. The main thing I view in teams is like how flexible is the character, right?
Right.
So next up, we've got Finn. So I'm a huge Finn believer. I think Finn's super strong, and especially in singles, like if you let this character just combo into whatever, has extremely large hitboxes. I think one of the reasons why I don't have him in S is because I don't think he works really well with the current perks that are strong. He doesn't have a lot of projectile moves, and a lot of projectile perks are like the strongest at the moment for this closed alpha build. AKA Ignite and Grey Health are probably the two most like quote unquote like impactful perks in the game at the moment. You would still like if you're running with a projectile character, you would still run them on like with Finn just because they're that strong. But like Finn himself is not getting much out of it, right?
That makes sense.
He's just, I think he's just really good because of his large hitboxes. That's pretty much the biggest thing about Finn is, and your conversion rate off of your moveset is really strong. You can do Rising Fair and neutral, and you can waveline into jab, and from jab you can get down air. From down air you can loop it. From the down air loops, you can go into side B. Side B sets up off stage. You can either hit fair one into imagination, being fair one spike, fair one into jump there, or fair one into up B. So like this character's combo game and conversion, like the amount of, you can essentially just loop something in a jab. So it's like, oh, I got a combo starter. As long as I can go into jab, I can jab and then go into something else and then get back into jab and then go into some, you know what I mean? So, but because of that, it takes a while. So your combos can get interrupted, but the main thing is like his big hitboxes. You can the more gold he has, the stronger his backpack up B is. So you can get really cheesy kills if you charge up smash. And Finn is unique in a sense where he can charge his grounded moves and move on the ground.
It's so annoying.
Very, very strong. And like especially with a move like up smash, the more you charge it, the higher you get launched up. So you can confirm up smash into like up B. And if you have like 2,000 or 3,000 gold, you're killing people at like 50-60%. So he's very cheesy and he has very large hitboxes. And he has a pretty good combo game, but that's not that great. And then again, I think he would be S tier, but with the current perks that are meta, I will have to put him in A.
Yeah, when I play against Finn, I feel very similar to how I feel when I play against Jake in terms of just like I'm pretty sure like he has big hitboxes and they're really good, but I can feel whenever it's like I'm getting hit because I don't understand this move. And I'm sure like I think specifically with Finn, I think his moves are a little bit better than Jake's, so I feel less like I do feel like I'm being hit by real things. I just don't understand what's happening, and it's like very frustrating to play against. So I think, especially when I die like really early to up B, like it's just really hard to tell what's going on because like he charges the move and then he jumps and it's orange bar. I always complain about orange bar connections because they just make me so mad in this game in doubles. But that specifically, like it's very easy to just get very lost. And I think what that actually translates to is that he has like pretty relevant options. And I feel like if the game continues like the way it is with projectiles, I can see him like not really. It makes sense that he would be an A tier. Like he's more of a role player. He doesn't have like the same versatility of having access to like the projectile perks and always being able to like support like any teammate. Like it makes sense that he would kind of need a little bit of help, despite being really, really strong. But if they ever decide to move the game away from the projectiles, I think he'll easily be S tier. Like I think he has like he has all the things needed to be like. If I didn't know what MultiVersus was, like after like all like the perks came out and after like seeing the meta develop, I would imagine that he would just be an S tier character. But it makes sense that right now he doesn't really fit yet. But I could totally see him if they decide to change the game even a little bit. So definitely a good investment character, I would say.
Yeah, I kind of was on the feel of like he basically has almost everything he needs to be an S tier character except for working with perks really well. Yeah. Like he's super easy. One of the first things I thought about 2v2, and this is what I was thinking while I was learning Arya, I was like, man, like before I started just like playing much more defensively, I was like, man, like some characters can really just stick stuff out while moving around, and he's just super good at that. And even if he's not converting like mega hard in 2v2, like the longer he lives, I think the more threat he has. He's really, really mobile. He can pick up of his teammates' hits really well, which is really nice too. And he's basically good on all the stages. Like he has all the good stuff. He just doesn't work with the buffs, like the individual like team comp buffs. I basically think that's the only thing stopping him. Besides that, in my head he's S tier basically. Like, honestly, like, in my head he's S tier. But thinking about the system under that and like what pushes characters to like a crazy level in 2v2, that's like the one thing he's slightly off on. I feel like.
Makes sense.
Yeah, like I definitely wouldn't argue if someone put him S tier. You know what I mean? Like, it's very close. It's very close.
For sure. Yeah, his up B also, like when he has the coins, like he has ways to like really, like kill you. Oh, was that the up B or the up air where he?
The up B is when he spins his backpack.
Yeah, the backpack. Yeah. That has a lot of like scary kill potential also. It's like he has like good ways of just like ending some stocks. But what's the thing that you get in the store? Like
so you can actually I didn't even mention this.
Fucking store.
He
goes into the little store. He spends his money.
You can get stacking speed buffs for you and your teammate. You can also get iron buns, which makes it so when you charge a grounded attack on the ground and you start moving, you and your teammate get a projectate shield. Dang. Okay, wait.
The projectile. So yeah, I was trying to bring up the.
Okay, so this I totally like now that I think about it.
Goated,
because that it's like so close, but actually, like, especially with the projectile shield buff and stuff like that, like even though he doesn't operate super well with Ignite, I still feel like the amount of like utility and hitboxes he brings, like he's got to be S.
I was about to say like the more we talked about like Finn, it sounds like we were kind of describing him as Shaggy. We're like, oh yeah, like he has like a lot of things going for him, but he doesn't have like the one thing. But like after talking about it more and more, it's like, you know, he really does have like a lot of stuff. Like maybe anti-meta might be the right word, where like he has like, because of the projectile like reflect, and also just being able to do really like all of the characters that we described in A and B tier, like Finn does like really well, but also has like a lot of utility, also has a counter to projectiles, which is like one of the most relevant things in the game. So I think actually he makes sense as almost like the S tier A/B character, where it's like
A plus or something.
A plus, S minus 100%.
Yeah, for sure. His down smash is also, that hitbox is still very
I cheesed so many I've won so many games that I shouldn't have with that move.
Yeah, I feel like he's really good at just like robbing you. Like he can really kill you early with the up Bs and the down smashes. So he has that potential. So
it definitely feels like he, despite not 100% following the meta, like I was wondering, I was like, damn, like this character does feel really good, and I understand why he's an A tier, but like, like he's really good. So yeah, I think him being the first S tier character, or like the bottom of the S tier, I think would make sense.
Boo, Adventure Time, boo.
Yeah.
So this character I actually don't know too much about. I don't know if I want to put Wonder Woman here or put Wonder Woman like here or here.
I think she's A, dude, honestly.
Really?
I feel like a lot of people point at Nakat, right? They're like, oh, Nakat's super good. I think just Nakat is good. Like, I actually don't think it's Wonder Woman, look, honestly.
I think she's S tier, to be honest.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, because because like she's very mobile.
Sure.
She is super amazing at advantage. She can kill you at really low percents. She's good on all the stages. She works with like all the characters, and she can apply and she can ignore scrambles, which is really big to me.
That
she has moves to stop scrambles, which is huge
in this game.
Yeah. So I think all those things, and her combo game is good, and the way her combos are, they're not like long.
Yeah,
which is a big thing. It's just nice and quick, and she just gets you off. And if she has the lasso perk, you're just gone if you choose wrong, and you have to pick fast.
She's OD with projectile characters too. Like she
for sure,
she essentially gives projectile characters a second chance. Like, I finally got in on your Rain Dog. It's like actually no, Rain Dog has armor and he's going to the other side of the stage.
Right.
I agree.
It's super juiced. It's super juiced, this character.
I think like kind of like the similar to Finn thing, where like she doesn't like have like the meta thing where like the projectiles with Ignite or whatever, but she just has everything that supports it like super duper well. And I was thinking it's this game, the reason why I specified that I didn't really play too much of doubles is because like when I was playing doubles, like there was a lot going on, and so I couldn't like always decipher like the moves very well. So like she has a move that's similar to Tom and Jerry's, where like the lasso or whatever, it just like kills at a range, right? Like that's like a thing that's
right. And you
that's
can
her
get a
thing.
tipper perk, and if you get the tipper lasso, it kills it earlier.
Okay, yeah. Like so I think like when I was thinking about the tier list like before like we started recording, like in my head I was thinking like why I felt that she was really good is that similar to what we were talking about earlier with projectiles, like being able to punish things at a range, even if you don't punish them, but like being able to threaten things at a range, low committal, low chance of getting reversaled, and actually just it causing a kill, I think is an extremely strong trait in this game. Because even if you are like, that's like a way to beat projectiles kind of is like, even if they're playing at a range, if you're just right about where they are, like, and you don't have to really worry about like being wrong too much. And also like even the chance to like if your teammate's getting bullied and you just like land a lasso from like half screen and like actually like it ends up being a very relevant thing, like not even just a save but an actual kill, like I feel like that's like a really important trait. It's like the Superman thing where like you get close and you like that's why he's strong. It's like, oh, like if you're close to him he can like he has the threat to kill you, but like being able to do it from full screen I think is like obscenely strong. So in my head I had her as S tier just because of that, on top of all of the other utility and like all of the other things like that she does very well. She does extremely well. So I think yeah, definitely a very strong role player, even if it's not like entirely versatile character.
Both these characters have really solid armor breaking stuff too, which doesn't apply to
yeah.
applies to more of like some of these characters down here, not too many of the remaining S tier characters. These guys don't usually have too much armor, but I think that's also like a nice little caveat to have. Like, oh,
Right.
I'm not gonna get bullshitted by Superman. Like, I'm just gonna fucking nair with Wonder Woman, and you're getting it. Like,
yeah, it's definitely potentially relevant in the future too if armor becomes even more like of a strong mechanic.
right,
But honestly, I think Wonder Woman is used frequently enough where armor breaking is pretty relevant in general. Like
so as you can see, the remaining characters all work really well off Ignite and are pretty much like projectile characters, with the one Harley being the exception. But so next up I have Velma. Velma is just really good. There's a lot of things, like she heals, she can lay down the ice. I think this character, the cop car is a meme. If you get hit by a cop car, your team's just bad because your teammate didn't like hit it, or you must have been put in a really bad situation.
You could get on like some edge guards, like
right. Like if you hit both of the your opponents off stage and then you call up the cop car, like that's probably your best bet, right? But other than that, you can kill it with like 1 or 2 moves. I think they definitely need to buff that, because that's like it seems like they designed the character around that, like collecting the evidence and all that. But I still think it's really annoying to reversal Velma. Like there's so many situations in this game where you're like, oh, someone's comboing me, I just want to like dodge through their hit and then fall on top of them with an aerial and like do my thing, right? And then Velma's just like, nah, like light bulb. And that move, you just can't mess with it. So just really good projectiles overall, and then on top of that, having a really solid like up air and up attack on the ground, I think is amazing to have in this game.
My girl, it's my girl Velma. She's dope. This character is like, this is a definition of when I started realizing how much some perks have impact on the game. Because so not only did you mention like, of course there's Ignite and there's Gray Health, but she has a perk that if your teammate gets evidence, then they get Gray Health too. And it's
what?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
it's pretty lit. That's what we ran the most.
So in 2v2, I use that. In 1v1, I actually use the other one, but in 2v2, it's a really ridiculous perk. And where we talk about other characters' combos being too long, her combos put her in a spot where she is really hard to hit her out of, and it stacks max weaken state on them immediately, just for hitting them twice. Hitting them the up B just gives it to them immediately. So she gives mad debuffs. You can use Ignite if you want. You can use Freeze if you want. And you can protect your teammate from really far. The cop car is kind of a meme, but it's like, oh, well, you have 3 things on the screen instead of 2. And, like, you just don't... The nice thing about her is that you don't have to engage a lot at all. And then, like, if you're with a physical person, you can support them. If you're a projectile person, you can support them. She has cooldown reductions. Like, she just has, like, a bunch of good support stuff all around. Her main weaknesses, in my opinion, are she's really bad in scrambles. Like, really bad in scrambles. Like, my answer is literally run. Like, just run away all the time. 2, her recovery is kind of cheeks. So triple jump really helps her. Her up B doesn't go very high. Her side B goes really far down, and you could do like crazy wave landing stuff and protecting angles offensively. But for coming back, if you make it go up, it barely goes up. It goes up like this much, and when you go down, you're like bloop, like that, like mega fast.
It's like
so
Pit,
recovery
right?
kind of
Is that how?
I'm not sure about Pit. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, it's not good for coming back. So she's not that good at recovering, and she's kind of late. But besides that, like tracking projectiles too, and you have the beam that can heal her. You have the beam that gets stronger through your partner. So if you have a scrambly partner, you shoot it through them. If you have like projectile partner, you shoot it through them and set up more projectiles. It's just so much. It's way too much setup. Non-committal setup from far where the opponent has to come at you, always come at you. So I think it's really, really strong.
Yeah.
Playing Happy Chaos out here, huh?
Basically, yeah. No, so LK and I, like, that our team was Tom and Velma, and like, dude, I felt so juiced playing Tom. I felt like I was playing like a boss character Tom Jerry. Like, I would get the beam when I was like setting up like a rocket or something or a trap, and then the beam would just shoot at them, and it would also like heal and like protect me at the same time. And then when I got the cooldown reduction, getting the gray health and the cooldown reduction, I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna spam dynamite like in like a madman and pretend like I was a pre-patch Tom. And then I had there was also the ice is super good in terms of like we like putting the ice down in like really important parts of the stages. Like center stage was a really important one. So if we ever got center stage, you put the ice down there. Even if you lose it, like it's like having it there, them like not being able to step on it and getting slowed down is so big. And yeah, she supports super duper hard. The sus bubble is also good. Every once in a while you get the sus ladder.
Sus ladder.
Love the sus ladder.
Love the sus ladder.
They knew what they were doing.
Street coverage is so good.
With all the because there was always the joke with Smash. It's like, oh yeah, you get to say funny phrases like Donkey Kong has a bad matchup against Sephiroth or whatever. But this game definitely went really ham with like, oh yeah, the sus bubbles when you like play Velma versus fucking like Rick and Morty or whatever. Character.
Oh my god, yeah, no, Velma's super good. Yeah,
that makes sense. I was really like I have a very bad association with Velma because one of the last characters that me and my friend played in the previous closed test was Double Velma, and I think there were like 20 like word bubbles on the screen at one point, and they were all tracking, and I was like, what the
super
going on? It was so annoying. It was just but I actually didn't really know how much she changed, so I definitely, after hearing all that, definitely makes sense to me that she's S tier. She definitely sounds insane.
Yeah, so next up, I got Steven Universe. This character, again, so Velma and Steven work really well, or pretty much all of the rest of these characters work really well with Igniting Grey Health, which is why I value them really high. And then, so Steven, you can create platforms like horizontal platforms or vertical platforms, as well as you can shield your ally. And he has a shield himself too. He's the only character in the game with a shield. And on top of that, the reason why Ignite and Grey Health work so well with him is his main like scramble tool is Nair, and his Nair counts as a projectile. So and he has like pretty, like, not a crazy combo game, but solid enough to get the job done. Just like some 2 to 3 pieces, proc a couple ignites because you're probably combo starting with Nair, and when you're able to bring more survivability to the table, I think that's really strong. And you're able to like there's specific platform combos because you cannot tech on the ground or on the wall, and you can't tech off his platform. So there can be like, you can have like crazy setups. I think this character is only going to get better as time goes on. Very similar to a character like Steve in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, where at first a lot of people didn't really know how to utilize all of these crazy tools of like map manipulation. But I think map manipulation is like one of the strongest things you can have in a platform fighter, because the stage is like so relevant, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
It's interesting because that's the thing I complain about this game is like, I just wish I had a fucking shield, just because like there's just big hitboxes that are laggy, and I know that I would be able to just shield grab it in every other platform fighter that exists. So
Right.
I think it makes sense that him just having access to that alone is like that's very game. And I actually don't know how it works. I don't know if he can like just like act out of it frame one, or if he has to jump, or if like it has a lot of lag when he shields. But just being able to like always be kind of safe from any active or big hitbox is like that's why a lot of those like that's why doubles is so different in like the other platform fighters. I feel like because like if you do laggy big hitboxes, it just doesn't matter. You will get punished for doing that because of shielding. So I think it makes sense that like just that alone would make such a big impact change, especially when your teammate like your teammate gets to like move around while they shield, which is insane.
Yeah.
So like I think it makes a lot of sense. I think on top of him also already having the ignite stuff, like I think I wouldn't be terribly surprised if he didn't have the projectile in there or whatever, that he would still be like pretty relevant just because of the shielding thing. So I think it makes sense.
Yeah, another really good thing about him too is that when he's at advantage, he's out of control because his up air is like that clap is really fast. It's dummy fast. It's like one of the main standout things for him to me, besides his ability to shield and change the stage with his shield, is that for sure. Like I got memed a couple of times by that move. So
clapping on you, man. Steven clapping on you. Damn.
No, this character has like such good like screen control, and like he has like the ways to like, you know, put the armor on your teammate, but he's also good at like fighting. Like, you know, you wouldn't expect him to be good at just like straight up like scrapping. Like he's really good at it. He's super duper good at it. All on top of being able to like put this armor on you. Like he's so versatile. And I think he's only gonna get better. Like he only is gonna get better and better. I think he has the most potential to reach like one of the best characters like in the game. I think so good.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So next up, the funny dog.
Funny dog.
Dude, honestly, I feel like we need to make an S+. Low key.
Oh, you think he's the best character in the game?
I think there's an S+. The more I'm like looking at it,
I can give you the S+ actually.
Yeah.
I think
Really?
I think these last four characters are like Rain Dog is a really good example, right? Like mad, like so lazy. Like the setup is so lazy. You get ignite, you save your teammate like ridiculous. You have so much like passive damage stuff that you do. You don't have to interact that much.
There's
Normals
a lot
are
of
mad good.
so much.
Like yeah. And Rain Dog is an enabler. Also, a huge enabler. So like where characters are like, man, this character can't operate because of this, that, or other thing. Well, if Rain Dog is there, they not only can they, but your perception of that character will be warped. Like I thought Superman was juiced for like an hour. After playing Superman Rain Dog, because he's just armored all the time and canceling into dodge all the time while being covered by beams and projectiles and constantly being tethered back to safety all the time.
I was like, oh wait, it's actually just Rain Dog.
It's Rain Dog, the enabler.
Yeah, no, Rain Dog with any character, like his flexibility is insane. You can play with anybody, and I think that team is super good because of Rain Dog. Like he is the support character. I think like the quintessential support character.
I just, you know what's crazy? There's all the support characters, I don't even view them as support characters. I just view them as mages. The only actual support character in the game feels like Steven. Right, like Steven feels like an actual support character where it's like, okay, I give him shields, I can create platforms. Like obviously he can clap people up too, but like Rain Dog feels like a mage to me. Velma feels like a mage to me. You know what I'm saying? But not like Steven doesn't feel like a mage, but he to me he's the only like quote unquote support class to me at least. And then all the other supports, quote unquote, like Rain Dog's doing 400 to 500 damage on average at higher ladder games, right? Like that's not a surprise. If a Rain Dog doesn't do 400 damage, like he got messed up. You know what I mean? But 400 to 500 damage is standard. This character, I could confidently say that it's like Rain Dog and Harley that have the most damage output in terms like maybe you can throw in Tom and Jerry, but like in terms of sheer damage output, I don't think anyone touches Rain Dog.
Makes sense.
No, for sure. And he has good like hitboxes too. Like
yes, down air.
His down air is I was about to say his down air is crazy. Like his down air is actually crazy.
You get next to Rain Dog, you're like, ha! Finally got next to the support guy. Time to mess you up, and then like he's like styling on you with down air in the fair, and like he's like doing like full screen comms. You're like, whoa, why is this? What's the funny dog though? He's smiling at you, living his best life.
Yeah, no, dude. And he's like, he also like saves his teammate a lot. The amount of percents that you live to, I feel like when you have Rain Dog on your team is also very, very high. Like he's really good teammate to have.
Yeah.
S+, I think.
So next up, I have Harley. At first, like these next three, I always kind of go back and forth. They're really close. Like this S plus tier, like maybe even Raindog you could put his best on in the game, right? This is a very tight tier in my opinion, and it's really hard for me to say like who's the best. But so I used to think Harley's best. Now I think she's like third best. I just feel like double Harley's not the strongest. Whereas like if you ran something like double Raindog, it's probably better. I do think Harley operates pretty much with. You could probably put Harley on any team, and it's fine, especially because she, in terms of assassins, she's the best assassin in terms of like the perks. Damage output's crazy, confetti's crazy. You have Nair, you hit the check mark of like really large hitboxes. She has like some setup with neutral B and down B, but it's like to me the strongest teams aspect with her is Nair, and I also think this character has like the best conversion rate out of jab. You can literally jab into imagination. So like jab into KO move, jab into your full string, jab into anything you really want, and then on top of that with the Nair, and she has like a lot of moves that are just count as quote unquote projectiles. So amazing with the perk system, the current meta perks.
Yep. Yeah, this is my character. She it's funny because like I definitely like, because I played only a little bit of doubles, I played like day one, like not using that many perks. I didn't really play like super duper meta stuff. So like I remember having a hard time killing, as like that was like the only thing that really felt annoying with her, is that whenever she stales, she just had like a really hard time killing. But I'm pretty sure like taking a step back and seeing how the game's played out now, I think she fits really well into the whole meta. And like you're saying, with like just being able to do like jab downer, jab downer, jab downer, or like being able to actually, she does feel like a real assassin. Basically, she can always, whenever they're up to the top blast zone, the side blast zone, or the downward blast zone, she feels like she always has like a chance to kill them, which I think is really relevant in the game too. And on top of the Nair, on top of like her fairs also, or okay, sorry, I forgot. I use the reverse order. So when I say fair, I'm talking about the hammer, which
the hammer's super
yeah.
Hammer.
Hammer's a menace.
Oh my God.
Which is that y'all's Nair? Is that how it works?
Yeah, that's for Nair. That's for Nair for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
Okay. I see it. But you were referring to the hammer that whole time, right, Charles? With the
as the Nair, yeah.
Okay,
I guess we all have different stuff mapped, but yeah, the hammer is like what
right,
I use as Nair.
Yeah, that's the only annoying thing with her, is that like that's her like super duper sick tool, but when that stales out, it gets like a little annoying to kill. But yeah, besides that, I mean 100% agree. She's just like she could definitely be paired with anybody pretty much, and like she's, especially any of the projectile characters, and like she is so comfy. And
this character operates incredibly at full jump heights with down air also, which is really nice. Because again, like another recurring theme that we've been saying this whole time is like scrambles. What do you do? And because of down air and her perk where she could like maneuver her down air, that's super helpful. Really low commit edge guards also compared to other characters like ApologyMan and I. We got to the point disclaimer, don't try this at home. This is a little bit risky, but I be playing really low into blast zones against people, like really low to try to reversal it. And against Harley, not an option. Absolutely not an option. It goes way too low, which is really good. And her combo game is really good. Works really well. Vic Knight, and can play inside and outside. Like she can just kind of do everything, you know. And also something that like I value a lot, just from a simplicity standpoint, is like when you have advantage state, how many times can you actually up air? Like how many times can you do it? And she could do it a lot. Like she just, and I'm just like, wow, I just can't get away from this. Like I'm playing Velma, right? I don't have really good mobility with my special move or anything. So once I'm out of dodges, I'm basically like, she just racks it up because it's so fast. You can't get away. You can't drift away. So I agree with you guys. Like super strong character. This one.
Yeah, for sure. And being able to disengage with the full hop, like that, you know, avoid scrambles, right? And then you have the hammer move, which it like makes her hurt box hella small.
Yeah.
So like everything is whiffs. I'm like trying to I'm gonna up air this, and then it's just like whoop, and then she just hammers me. I'm like, come on, every time. Like again, you have like the ways you can fast fall it, and like you can change your aerial drift.
Right.
It's very annoying, and like if you get hit by it and it hits behind itself, like oh man. Yeah, but once again, I think the theme for like these S+ characters is like you throw them on the team, it's good. Like I actually feel like they're all like flexible and like basically any like character combo for the most part.
I
So
think
Harley is the second
Oh.
character who made me think there's priority in the game.
Yeah,
Jake was
Yeah,
the first one.
yeah.
Harley
Is that
actually made me
fire
think there's
system?
priority. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, her combos are crazy, dude. Her combos are crazy. The amount of damage she gets.
Yeah.
I think one thing also that she's really, really good at is staying off stage for just like forever, because she can do like side B, jump, down B, charge down air, and like all these like really, really long stalls that I feel like some characters literally are weak because they just like get killed at 0, but like she can't really die at low percents. Like, but I mean, she's like light, so like she does have that type of like dying early, but I feel like for the most part, she always can kind of just like I like hugging the wall at the bottom of the blast zone when I'm not playing as Harley, and like I've seen people just like constantly whip downers above me because they think that I'm gonna approach, but like I don't have to. I have like a million ways. I can even like put the down B down, jump into it, and get all of my resources back too. So there's just like she has so much shit. So yeah, definitely.
It's so hard to
definitely makes sense.
her. Yeah, it's like not even worth it. It's so at a certain point. And her dash speed's so good. Oh man, she's so good. Movement's insane.
Yep.
So okay, disclaimer here. Void has shown me some like exploits in the game that he hasn't like posted on Twitter. So before, I was a very huge believer that Bugs is like just the best character in the game. But I'll explain the exploits. But with the exploits on this build, I actually think Tom and Jerry is the best character in the game. But we'll go over Bugs first. I think without the exploits, Bugs is the best character, and I think for me, Bugs is really strong because of the amount of verticality he brings to like his projectiles become vertical when you combine it with the rabbit hole, right? So you throw a safe in the rabbit hole, it goes down through the tunnel, it comes back up, and it comes back down. It keeps like just going in this U shape. It's really broken because in teams, you just the whole time we've been talking, right? Lingering large hitboxes. So when you have a Acme rocket that's going up, down, a safe that's going up, down, that's covering a lot of presence on the map, and then you and your teammate just can't get hit by it, right? So you can operate really aggressively or defensively around these things. Like you pretty much just call the shots around those hitboxes, right? And at any point, Bugs or your teammate can hit the safe again to like alter the angle. So if you're here, safe's here, Bugs is here, you have to like respect Bugs so hard. The only chance you have at fighting Bugs is to get over the safe, right? But if there's X amount of distance, then you just can't do it. And you kind of like have to try and wait to see when they're gonna kick it. He can slow set it up to a jab. He can jab so it's like slowly coming and then kick it or do anything else to alter the angle and make it speed up. So a bunch of craziness in terms of his projectiles that just kind of linger around. And on top of that, he has like one of the fastest down airs. That mallet is like really fast. Something that's another trait that Tom has is like a really quick down air that kills really early, right? And then on top of that, Bugs has like one of like Bugs up air and Harley up B are probably some of the best like juggling tools for getting KOs. And I think Bugs is just stronger than Harley's up B.
Yes,
Bugs up air. So, and another thing that's really strong about Bugs and Harley, I forgot to mention this about Harley is, and this also goes in line with like Velma. Characters with good up airs, you can play very campy and defensive on the wall cling. Like you can cling onto a wall. If you feel like someone's gonna spike you, you can like up B or up air, right? And just be like, get off of me, right? Because I have a humongous vertical disjoint above me. So it's like, unless it's a Harley edge guarding you, because Harley can outrange that. but like if it's not Harley, then you can essentially hit them before they hit you with their spike, right? And I think that is also a very important thing because a lot of KOs in this game happen off stage, and if you have like a lot of anti-off stage tech, that's really good. Bugs also has all these crazy things going for him. Like Bugs feels like he can do it all, and then on top of that, he provides himself with mobility, and he provides his teammate with mobility. I've seen like Bugs Velma, where like Velma's in the scramble situation, get in the hole, boom, on the other side of the stage, throwing words again, and then Bugs is just scrapping, right? Like I think mobility is important in this game because I mean, one, everyone just has a bunch of it, but like when you give other characters like full screen mobility, like that's crazy. And then you're also taking up a lot of space on the map with vertical projectiles and all this other stuff. I just this character to me does not have a weakness at all.
Yo, big agree.
So good.
Big agree. And I mean, as far as scrambles, like he's like one of the only characters in the game that can be. So this is the difference between him and Steven, right? Steven, okay, he's got the shield. You can move around the shield. Bugs is like you're totally invincible, and you like instantly move to wherever the other rabbit hole is, and the only thing that's restricting you is the stage. Like frankly, like that's the only thing that will like affect how much they could use it, like where they go and stuff. And like how he has cancel options of like his good projectiles and stuff. Like if you can't crawl or if you don't have like extra movement options like going above or around it, like they could just like really pin you down. And he has the lazy spamming up airs and advantage too. That's really good. Like he's really really ridiculous. Like I realized today that the only reason I didn't feel ridiculous against him, like I didn't feel like I was super impressed by him, was because Velma can crawl. So you can crawl under stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. When I played another character, I was like, oh my god, I can't go anywhere.
Right. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So much stage control. And also like I don't know how like relevant this really is. His hammer or his bat's the up air, right?
The bat is up air and the hammer is down air.
Okay,
like the mallet down.
I think like one thing that's like going back to the Harley for like a second is that her up B has it's like because you can only do 2 specials in the air, you're kind of limited to how many times you can do that specifically. But with bugs, you actually could just do upper, and they all kill,
dude.
and like
Yeah,
it's very fucking it's messed up.
Yeah, it goes up so high, dude. Yeah, no, his up air is insane. But yeah, like once again, like his screen control is so powerful with the safe and the rocket. Like he has a lot of cooldowns for sure. But like if you like synergize like around like Bugs' cooldowns with like your teammate and like when like all right, safe is up, all right, acne missile's coming, like the amount, it's so hard to like get around, and getting hit by the safe is so scary. Like it actually like has so much knockback. Like there's so many times I'm like, all right, I'm on the other side of the stage. Oh god, safe, and then I'm just like dead at like 90 or something. Dude, it just came out of nowhere.
The dynamite also kills really early too. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like you just have to respect so much. I think that's like definitely like the like that was the word that I was thinking of when I was thinking of Bugs like before the video. It was just like you just have to respect them like almost 24/7. Like a lot of characters, like when you get hit, it's like whatever. But with Bugs, it feels like oh god, I hope I don't die like constantly. And there's also just so much shit on the screen.
It's so much. It's so much. He's good on so many stages because of it. Him on Batcave, insane. Like there's just so much shit everywhere. Him on the 2 island stage at Trophy's Edge. That one's really good. Like he's just so good on so many stages. On top of that, like insane. And the whole like you have Invul coming out of it. Like it's so good. You get out of scrambles.
Yep.
Oh, all right. God. So next up, Tom and Jerry.
The GOAT.
So I will say, like we mentioned earlier, one of the biggest things with Tom and Jerry that I feel like is really strong is being able to whiff punish with a projectile. Not even Bugs can do this. So Batman can do it with Batarang, but Tom can do it if he has Jerry available, which is very good at disrupting and saving your teammate. Like, oh, my teammate's about to get confirmed. Shoot Jerry. There is literally no chance that I get hit from this because I'm not like going in to try and save them, right? I just shoot Jerry, hit them, boom. Combo disrupted, back to neutral, right? So that is a very powerful tool. Again, you're kind of like Bugs in a sense where you're controlling, but your control is not as lingering, but I feel like the cooldown is way less, right? Like you have Dynamite, which covers a great amount of area, and then it's crazy because Void even found like this setup where you can set up like a quad tennis ball, or it's like 3 tennis balls and 1 corkscrew off the top. You like shoot Jerry up, but you lob a tennis ball before, and then you get all your tennis balls out, and then Jerry is like also shooting a corkscrew, and then you shoot like 4 projectiles, and they don't like, they're kind of clumped together, but they'll like chain, so you'll get hit by one and then they're still coming, then get hit, and like you can just die off of it. The tennis balls are pretty much full screen, right? Beneath. So that's another thing that's crazy too.
They're
and
really
they
fast
KO
too.
you, and they're pretty fast. And on top of that, this character can also just box. So again, like we're kind of getting into these characters where it's like, okay, strong map control. You know, you can scrap. He has, especially with the dodge ignoring the 1 move lockout, right? You can just dare spam. And then on top of that, and then you just go into up air. So another thing, now I'm going to start explaining some of the glitches and exploits in this current build that you can just abuse with Tom and Jerry. Jerry just has infinite corkscrews, so when you throw out Jerry, he has 5 corkscrews, or he should have, but you can just keep shooting them even if you're out. You have infinite. Void actually found an infinite that you can do, that you loop the corkscrew and you loop decayed down air, and you can keep on looping it forever.
That's
So
godlike.
and every corkscrew is proccing in Ignite, because one corkscrew is the first part of Ignite, and then the decayed down air fully procs Ignite, and then you go into another loop, and then the Ignite stacks. So it's like this character has guaranteed infinites pretty much. It's pretty hard to pull off, but like nonetheless, this character thrives almost off of everything that's good on this patch. And there's also another exploit if you run certain perks that you can have double Jerry. So you can have a Jerry out and then still have a Jerry on you.
Yeah, we're talking about that too. Okay, jeez.
I'm just saying, like, if like Tom and Jerry's are honorable and they don't use all the exploits, it'll probably look like this. But in a world where we're like, oh, we're competing, like say we played on this build and they're like, all right, you guys are playing for $10,000. Like, obviously the best Tom and Jerry's are going to use the exploits, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, having double Jerry is like crazy too, because the Jerry shot is the main projectile that's strong, right?
I purposely didn't use it, LK, by the way, but it's pretty broken. Yeah, if you have to use a specific 2 perks to do it. You need to do ability, debuff, refund, and fire perk. But if you hit Jerry, you just get Jerry back, and it's just like a duplicate of him. It's actually pretty messed up. But I did use it because I did want to cheat. You know, I was trying to play honorable.
Tom.
Yeah, I was playing honorable Tom. Yeah, but yeah, no, this is the character that I played since forever. Like I haven't played like. He's the character I enjoy the most. Nice change of pace. Playing one of the best characters of the game. Finally.
Yeah,
I know, right? I'm like, finally, I hit the jackpot on this one. He's so good. He's so good at like so many different things. The amount of damage, like I feel like consistently, I always get the most amount of damage like on my team from just like how much projectiles like he has. Like the dynamite is so good at like breaking up scrambles, breaking armor, has really good range, like it like separates in like all these different angles. He has tons of ways to kill you with his like up air tipper and like his down air. Yeah, the fishing rod is good at like breaking up like some situations from afar, which is really nice. And the thing is like when your teammate's getting beat up, right, you being able to break them up with something that's disjoint from you is so powerful, because you are not being affected in any way. Like when I'm like, oh, I need help, it's like, yeah, I could go over there and like try to hit you, but I could also get hit in the process, like trying to save you. If it's like dynamite or Jerry shot or fishing rod, like no matter what, like you're good and I'm good. And I think that's super duper powerful. Like he has really good knockback on his rocket. I think rocket is really strong too. I was using that for a lot of landing traps, actually. That was one thing I was getting like pretty decent at. Was like I would use it kind of like Nessus PK Thunder, and then they'd be like, okay, I can't go over here, I gotta jump over here, air dodge, and then at any point I can stop aiming the rocket and like become actionable again, and then I would just like up air them. And I was like, wow, that sucks. You dodged the rocket, but I up aired you over here. Like, oh man, he's so good. The whole time I was like not trying. I was holding it in. I was like, damn, bro. Like, is this character broken? Nah, I'm just super good. Nah,
I'm just nice with it. I'm
just nice with it. You know how I do. But I'm like, oh wait. The more I play with like just all my different friends in the closed alpha, I'm like, I think my character's broken.
Is this what it feels like?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because I think Tom and Jerry and Raindog kind of operate in the same way, where they provide a lot of like consistent projectile support, whereas Bugs and Harley, like I feel like Bugs is just kind of a little bit better version than Harley, but even Bugs and Harley kind of operate in similar ways in terms of like the vertical threat and stuff like that, right? So it's like pretty clear, at least like in our opinions, what is really strong in the game. But yeah, that's like a pretty good overview. I don't know if you guys wanted to add anything else to kind of like wrap things up.
Yeah. I think we talked about the characters a lot.
I was thankful that my initial impressions of what characters were good were pretty accurate. I was like, yeah, definitely disjointed screen control is just like that.
With no team attack, it's a
with no team attack. Like that's what's so interesting about this game. At the end of the day, is that like I have a lot of installed ideas of doubles, but like when you change a couple elements, like no shielding and no friendly fire, it's like, okay,
Everything
well,
flips,
actually, there's a whole lot of difference all of a sudden. And so, I'm definitely very interested to see where the game goes. Like I said, like, I don't know if they'll nerf perks or if they'll like, if they decided to say like run it, maybe so they add some new characters that'll just be like, actually, we don't need projectiles anymore because that's like not a relevant like trait anymore. There's a lot of, I think, interesting ways for this game to go. And so I'm just excited to see where it goes, I think. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning into our tier list. Shout outs to Charles for running a lot of it, and also thank you for joining us as well, ApologyMan and Lord Knight. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, smash the notification bell, and let us know in the comments what you think about the tier list. If you think that maybe we didn't like think about one factor important enough, or maybe, you know, one character got underrated, overrated. So let us know in the comments down below, and we'll see you guys next time.